Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We're cracking open the coach's playbook to tackle one of the biggest hurdles standing between you and your real estate career, Chapter 475 of the Florida Statutes. Now, if you've been studying for the FREC 1 exam, you already know this material is absolutely foundational. So grab your notes, get focused, and let's conquer this thing.
Look, Florida real estate license law is dense. I mean, it can honestly feel like you're reading a totally foreign language sometimes. But here's my promise to you. We're going to cut through all that fluff right now. We're going to focus purely on the high-yield concepts that you absolutely have to know to pass the test. No distractions, just the essential plays to get you that passing score. Okay? Let's dive in.
Section 1. The playing field, or more specifically, the activities requiring a license.
So before you can even play the game, you got to know what activities actually put you on the field. The baseline concept of Florida real estate law is pretty simple. If you perform certain real estate services for another person, and you do it for compensation, you legally have to have an active license. And the absolute best memory hack for those specific services is this acronym right here, A-bar-sale. If you do any of these 8 things for someone else for money, you need a license. It stands for appraise, buy, auction, rent, sell, advertise, lease, and exchange. So if you see a question on the exam where someone is doing one of these for compensation on behalf of someone else, literal alarm bells should be ringing in your head. They need a license for sure.
Moving on to Section 2, the exempt players. This is all about exemptions versus violations.
You know, in every rulebook, there are always those who get a free pass on the playing field. But we really need to make a crystal clear distinction between an exemption and a violation, because this is one of the biggest traps on the exam. A legal exemption means the statute specifically allows you to perform real estate services completely without a license. Like, if you're a property owner selling your own property, you're exempt. What about salaried employees working in an on-site rental office of an apartment community? Totally exempt. Even attorneys in fact, attorneys at law or court appointees who are just operating within their designated legal duties, they all get a pass. But if you don't have a specific statutory exemption and you perform one of those A-bar sales services we just talked about for compensation without a license, that's a strict violation. In fact, operating as a broker or sales associate without a valid license is literally a third-degree felony in Florida. So definitely don't confuse a legal exemption with some minor rule violation. Practicing without a license is a major crime.
All right, Section 3, making the team. Let's look at the qualifications for licensure.
So you want to get licensed and avoid that felony charge, right? Let's shift our focus to the basic stats an applicant needs to even make the cut for a Florida real estate license. Trop alert here. The magic number is 18. You just have to be at least 18 years of age to apply. But here is the exact trick the exam loves to throw at you. You actually do not need to be a resident of Florida to get a Florida real estate license, and you don't even need to be a U.S. citizen. Nope. As long as you're 18 and you have a valid social security number, mainly for child support enforcement checks, you are officially in the running.
Okay, so what else do you actually need? Well, a high school diploma or its equivalent. Did you notice what isn't on that list? A 4-year college degree. You absolutely do not need a college degree to get your license. Aside from that, the state heavily weighs your moral standing. You've got to be honest, truthful, trustworthy, of good character, and competent to conduct negotiations safely. Basically, if you have a criminal history that suggests otherwise, the Commission has every right to deny your application.
That brings us to Section 4, the draft. We're talking applications and background checks.
Let's talk about the logistical steps of officially getting drafted onto the real estate team through the application process. When you apply, you're dealing with the DBPR, which is the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. And when you submit your application to them, 100% full transparency is required. The application is going to ask if you have ever been convicted of a crime, entered a plea of nolo contendere, or had a license disciplined in another jurisdiction. You really must disclose everything. Being dishonest here is basically a surefire way to get denied.
So, let's look at the flow of this draft process because it's absolutely crucial. Step 1, you submit your application and the required fee. Step 2, provide digital fingerprints. This one is a strict, completely non-negotiable requirement. Why? Well, that leads right into Step 3. Those digital fingerprints are sent directly to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the FDLE, and the FBI to run a super thorough criminal history background check.
Now for Section 5, Special Draft Rules. Let's cover mutual recognition.
So, what if you're an out-of-state player who already has a license in another state? Well, Florida has these mutual recognition agreements with certain specific states. If you qualify under one of these as a non-resident, you get a really nice special pathway. You don't have to take the full, grueling FREC 1 exam. Instead, you only have to take a 40-question written exam. And this 40-question test is focused strictly on Florida-specific real estate law. It is a heavily tested number on the exam, so be sure to lock that 40 into your memory bank right now.
All right, Section 6, the scrimmage. It is time for a rapid review quiz.
Okay, you've learned the playbook. Now it's time to simulate the pressure of the exam experience with a rapid-fire review quiz. What we're looking at right now is an actual Pearson VUE score report showing a failing grade of 68. You need a 75 to pass. Seeing this piece of paper on test day is a total gut punch. So we're going to practice right now to ensure you literally never have to look at one of these. I'll read a question, pause to let you think about it, and then hit you with the answer. Ready? Let's hit the scrimmage line.
Question 1. Does a salaried apartment manager renting out units from an on-site office need a real estate license? Just take a beat and think about the exemptions we discussed earlier.
And the answer is no, because they're paid a salary, not a commission, and they work in an on-site rental office. They fall under a very specific statutory exemption. They are totally safe to play without a license.
Moving to question 2. What is the educational requirement for a Florida real estate sales associate applicant? Got it? Lock in your answer.
It's a high school diploma or its equivalent. Remember the trap we talked about? If an answer choice says associate's degree or bachelor's degree, just cross it out immediately. You just need a high school education to get your foot in the door.
Question 3. If someone appraises property for compensation without a license, is it just a minor rule violation? Think back to the severity of this that we covered.
Definitely no. It is a full-blown third-degree felony. Remember, appraising is one of those A-bar sales services. Doing it for compensation without an active license isn't just a slap on the wrist. It's a severe criminal violation of Florida law.
All right, final question, question 4. How many questions are on the Florida Mutual Recognition exam? You got that number in your head?
It's 40 questions. And honestly, to take it a step further, the rules specify that each question is worth exactly 1 point, and you need a grade of 30 points or higher to successfully pass that non-resident exam.
Well, we've covered the playing field, the major exemptions, the application process, and we even tested your reflexes. So I'll leave you with this final thought. When you sit down in that testing center, are you going to freeze up on the FREC 1 exam, or will you use the coach's playbook to absolutely dominate? Keep reviewing these concepts, trust the process, and I will see you on the passing side. Happy studying!